never do any of these things online. Number 1. Don't ever download free movies, games, music, etc. Did you know that obtaining a free copy of a paid-for product is against the law under most jurisdictions? Downloading free copies of movies, games, music, and other digital media and software can be punishable with fines, prison time, internet service suspension and termination, amongst other punishments. Law enforcement can apply for a warrant to search and seize your hardware. These warrants grant the police supreme powers to search, seize, and even fiddle around with evidence on your electronic devices, and if you're found guilty of obtaining pirated material, you can face a mandatory minimum sentence in the United States of America. As for the rest of the world, most countries punish piracy with fines, internet service suspension and termination, and even prison time, although some countries permit downloading copyright-protected material for personal use. Such countries include Spain, the Netherlands, and Switzerland, but most countries don't tolerate copyright infringement. So, don't go looking for free movies online. You're just asking for trouble, and you don't even want to know how expensive the fines can be for downloading copyright-protected material without the owner's permission. Number 2. Don't go searching for weapons, drugs, or other illegal goods. Searching for weapons, counterfeit money, and illegal goods and items can arouse reasonable suspicion and land you under police investigation. Even if you don't intend on buying anything that's considered to be an illegal item, you shouldn't search anything which might arouse reasonable suspicion to the authorities. Remember, the police can obtain a warrant at any time to take away your hardware and investigate your devices, so don't do anything which makes them think that you might be a criminal of sorts. They don't care if you are a real criminal or not. Anything you do can and will be used against you in a court of law, and your internet searches, browsing history, and other digital data can and most certainly will be used against you if necessary. Deleting browsing history while under police investigation is also a crime in most countries. So, don't do the dumb thing and go looking for weapons on Google search. That's going to land you under some serious police investigation, and if you want to search sensitive topics, such as weapons, then it's highly recommended that you use privacy-respecting tools such as the Tor browser, and private search engines can also help here too. Number 3. Don't go looking for naked images of minors online. Possession, distribution, profitization, and searching for naked images of people under 18 is illegal in many countries and can land you on a sex offenders list. A sex offenders list is a government watch list that monitors high-risk individuals who are seen as sexual predators, or a person likely to cause sexual harm to someone else, and it becomes even more serious when the victim is under 18 years of age. You are considered a minor if you are under the legal age, which means that images, even fictional ones, of minors, is illegal and can land you with some very serious consequences. You could have your computers and electronic devices taken away for good. You may also end up on a sex offender list, possibly even be forced to wear an ankle monitoring device. You can also have a criminal record of child abuse, which is very serious and can reduce your chances of finding employment. Child porn can also be punishable with prison time and hefty fines. Some countries have a maximum of up to 15 or 20 years for possessing, distributing, or making money off of child abuse material. Child abuse material is a very serious crime. Even searching for it can land you under investigation, and on child porn charges. Number 4. Don't share your passwords, username, and other credentials with people, especially people who you don't personally know. It's never a good idea to give your user information to anyone else other than yourself, especially if the person is not somebody you know personally. Identity theft, fraud, extortion, and other serious crimes can be committed if you willingly lend your information to other people. It's kind of like leaving your driver's license at the murder scene. You're asking to get caught, and you're deliberately putting yourself in harm's way. Giving out your passwords and other credentials risks having interactions with law enforcement, as some services and countries prohibit sharing credentials, even if it's your best friend, or somebody in law. It's just not wise to share your credentials with anyone else, unless you want to risk losing privacy, and having serious legal consequences, and if your online accounts are used to commit identity theft, fraud, and other crimes, you can also find yourself under full-blown police investigation. A stolen SIM card can also be used for similar nefarious purposes, and proof of intent is not required in order to punish you for something like identity theft. So, don't be stupid, Forrest Gump. Never share your personal details online, it can ruin your life for good. Number 5. Don't share too much about yourself on social media. The more you give out, the more that can and will be used against you in a court of law. Your information is valuable to yourself, and you should not give people any ideas as to what you believe in, what you do for a living, and other personal aspects of life. Everything is on a need-to-know basis, and they don't need to know. Sharing too much about yourself, or giving away too many clues as to who you are, is never a good thing. Your social media account is what employers will look at during a job application process, because the employer wants to know who you are. The authorities can also look to social media during and after police investigations, and demand user data from social media giants like Facebook and use it against you in a legal battle. On the subject of social media, you can be prosecuted and sent to prison if your post is deemed to violate a serious law. Such posts include being critical of your government, speaking out against ongoing war, or exposing information which is seen as being secretive and valuable to the government. These can land you in some very serious trouble with law enforcement, and you'll likely be banned from using social media in future if you are found to have been violating their terms and services, and user agreements. So, don't post too much about yourself, because unintended consequences might bite you in the ass when you least expect it. Number 6. This one is very similar to the social media one. Don't bring your personal life into your social media life. I get it, we all like to brag on about ourselves from time to time, but bringing in too much personal stuff into the social media world can be both good and bad, depending on who you are. If you're a high-profile individual, you may not want people knowing how you live, where you live, and so on and so forth, but some people want to post as much about themselves online as possible, but this is where too much of a good thing can also be a really bad thing. If you talk too much about your personal life, people might start judging you on your beliefs, and if you express too much about yourself, especially in the political sense, you can even be placed under arrest, or under police investigation. Whistleblowers are a prime target for law enforcement since they expose information that the government does not want you to see, and remember, the quieter you become, the more you are able to hear, so don't tell anyone about anything, ever, because people cannot be trusted, and your supposed best friend could also be your worst enemy. So say for example, you are someone who engages in criminal activities, you don't want anyone else knowing what you're doing, because it's illegal, right? Right, and if anyone finds out, they are now going to report you to the authorities local to your area, and bam, you're in a prison cell before you even know it. Now that's not to say that you should be doing illegal things. Even if you don't have friends, you still shouldn't engage in illegal activities, but it's just an example of how trust can be broken so quickly, and if your friend knew you did something illegal, and one day, something went south in the relationship, your friend would likely report you to the authorities. It doesn't matter what illegal thing you're doing, and I'm just using that as an example of why people cannot be trusted, not because I want you to think I am doing something illegal. There is nothing illegal about this video. I am just trying to educate stupid and dumb people to protect themselves from their worst enemy, themselves, because stupid dumb fuckwits are likely to do something which will land them in some serious trouble. This is really just a general purpose video, nothing personal. Number 7. Don't give websites too much information. This is becoming increasingly harder to accomplish as governments are cracking down on user privacy and not allowing us to have full-on privacy. Many corporations also harvest user data like it is going out of fashion. However, you can still reduce what websites know about you by doing several simple things. Using a private search engine such as DuckDuckGo stops Google from tracking your searches. Using a private browser, such as Brave browser, can stop websites and third parties from tracking and spying on you, and a VPN, virtual private network, can hide your real IP address, DNS, and other identifiable information from governments, authorities, websites, and so much more. In a world where digital theft and fraud are becoming more commonplace, it's essential that you do everything you can to prevent too much data from falling into the wrong hands. Number 8. Don't go downloading free driver repair tools, or PC optimizers. They often come with nasty malware and often don't do the thing they are supposed to do. Have you ever seen those ads for driver repair tools for Windows? Those often come with malware and trick you into thinking that a driver needs updating, or reinstalling. Nothing could be further from the truth. These sneaky bastards make engaging ads that makes the average oblivious PC user likely to infect their PC with malware, through no fault of their own. They just think their PC needs fixing, but it's not wise to click on random ads you see. As a matter of fact, ads are a prime way in which malware ends up being loaded onto your system. Many ads contain malicious code designed to steal user data, install ransomware, trojans, viruses, and other nasties, as well as give you adware. Adware is a type of malware that makes many ads pop up on your phone or PC screen. These ads can be quite annoying as they constantly come and go. They often bombard your system and overload its resources. Adware can be difficult to remove, but it's generally easier to remove than most other forms of malware. Adware is also one of the less invasive and damaging types of malware, and if you know what you're doing, you won't even get adware in the first place. Number 9. Don't use Google to search for sensitive topics, or topics which you believe arouses reasonable suspicion. Even Linux is considered reasonable suspicion by some police forces, so searching for Linux could get the cops keeping tabs on you and your internet activities. As crazy as it sounds, Google is not there to give you the search results you want. Google is there to make money off of your user data. They do this by tracking and collecting all sorts of personally identifiable information. They then use your searches and prior history to predict what you want to find. Google does this by using complex algorithms and sequences, which often gives you the results you want. But Google search quality has not been the best in recent times, and Google no longer offers what it once did, a better search engine. Now, Google is just an advertising platform that extracts wealth from user data and then sells that data for a profit. Google also keeps a record of your every search, so that, if the police need to investigate you for some reason, they can just contact Google and demand that they hand over user data. Google doesn't have a choice when law enforcement demand data, because to them, not handing over the data also means a huge loss of profit, so Google will happily hand over your data, even if you're not a crooked criminal, and Google collects a lot of data for this very purpose, as well as showing you relevant content online, but it is done to preserve your data, more so than anything else. So, the next time you want to look up a sensitive topic, do not use Google search. The cops will bash down your doorstep and investigate you based on your internet searches. You only have to arouse reasonable suspicion for the police to latch onto your case, and it's pretty hard to get them off of your case once they're hooked. So please don't be stupid, and don't trust Google, because Google cannot be trusted. They have proven it time and time again. Google sells your data to people who cannot be trusted, and Google will happily give as much data away as necessary for police investigations. Finally, number 10, don't search for free Windows product keys online. While it may seem harmless finding free Windows activation keys online, you can be prosecuted for pirating Microsoft Windows. Even though Microsoft really doesn't care if you actually pay for Windows or not, it is against the law to use software that is meant to be paid for, entirely free of cost. This is known as copyright infringement. You are infringing upon another person's work, in this case, Microsoft Windows, and even though there haven't been publicly known cases of people being fined for not activating Windows, you do run the risk if you use a pirated copy. Microsoft knows whether or not the version of Windows you have is a legitimate copy. They have backdoors in Windows which allows them to tap into your system at any time, and fiddle around with it, and if Microsoft sees you're using a pirated copy of Windows, they may take action with law enforcement, but because too many people use Windows, and a certain number of those people pirate it, it would likely cost too much money to enforce piracy laws for Windows, so even if piracy is illegal, using an inactivated copy of Windows probably won't land you in prison, but you still take a risk when you run a pirated copy of Windows, and is it really worth the risk for gaining very little, if anything at all? I don't think so. So please pay for Windows. I don't care if you're poor or rich, there are cheap product keys available for Windows 10, 11, and any other version for that matter, that you can buy for incredibly low prices. You also unlock the customization features of Windows 8 and above by activating Windows, so not activating Windows, whilst it may seem harmless and unlikely to cause problems, could land you in trouble with the police, especially if you work for an organization or a business that uses Windows. Piracy is still piracy, and law enforcement do not take kindly to piracy. Anyone can call the cops on you, or file a complaint to law enforcement, for using counterfeit or pirated software, even if they don't personally know you. So don't do stupid things which are likely to land you under some serious investigation, on charges, or in a prison cell. It's just not worth the pain and suffering, even if you consider the stupid thing to be practical and fun. It's not so fun when the cops are bashing your door down, taking away your electronics, and placing you behind bars for 20 years, all because you refuse to pay Microsoft some hard-earned money, or a stupid internet search you did with Google. So please don't do dumb things, otherwise, you're literally saying to the police, "Come and investigate me," and at any reason they get, they will investigate, charge, and arrest you, even if you didn't commit a crime. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.